Looking at my makeup table, it is an absolute disaster. I've only been doing really subdued, chill looks. I haven't been doing anything too, over the top. Not a lot of glam going on, keeping it simple. I know it's the new style, but I'm not doing it to follow along with the new style. I've just been kind of just gravitating in that direction. I love the full beat and getting all glammed up, but I haven't been in that headspace. I haven't wanted to do the full makeup thing. But I know in one of my last videos, Ghostly Intrigued, and thank you so much for commenting, had asked if I would do my makeup while I, told you guys about what's going on lately, and I figured, I can sit down and absolutely do that. It's not going to be a full beat. I hope you weren't wanting that, because I'm probably not going to do that today. I'm going to keep it chill. I'm going to do a subdued thing, but we are going to talk about some stuff that's been going on. Not like the heavy stuff, because I've been feeling heavy enough, just a lot of things that have been going on, and I've just been feeling kind of and I have an up-and-coming birthday where normally I'd be a lot more excited. This year I'm just not. I don't know, the current state of things, it's just with life and everything that's going on, I'm not as excited about it. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, and that's not what this video is going to be about. I'm not going to get all boohoo about it, but I haven't felt the desire to post. I've been more of a spectator. I've been watching and keeping up on current events and stuff like that, keeping up with my friends here. I've just been kind of chilling, and I've needed it, just like a moment to just step back and do that thing, and that's just where I've been at. But today, I want to sit down, do a little light makeup, and chat with you guys. I'm trying to rein myself in before I go off on some other random tangent and be here all day. That's what we're doing. We're gonna have a little makeup moment, a little chatty moment. I'm going to skip the heavy stuff for a later time, or just, let other people talk about it, because, there have been some tragedies going on. Not going to touch on that today. We're going to do a little, gossipy, hangout moment. I don't know, it sounds more upbeat and fun to me, and I feel like that's kind of what I need right now. So I hope you guys are excited about that you're into it, because that's what's happening. About to get into it. But before I do, if you haven't already, you know the drill. Like, subscribe, come hang out on my channel. It'd be really great to have you here. And with that being said, let's get into today's video. Finally got my hair up, ready to get into it. I'm gonna go ahead and I think I'm gonna underpaint today a little with my Makeup by Mario, and we're gonna chat. Wow! If you guys are into the Housewives, Real Housewives, any of them, it's a whole huge franchise, and Bethany Frankel and a lot of the housewives that have gone off to do other things, they have podcasts and things like that. Well, I did catch Bethany Frankel's podcast, and she had reunited with her friend, someone who used to be a good friend of hers, and they got in a big fight, Jill Zarin. Now, I am someone who loves the Real Housewives. Two in particular, Atlanta and New York. Those are the ones that I love and watch. Well, there's a whole new New York cast. I haven't seen the new one yet, but I ended up coming across Bethany Frankel's podcast, so I'm watching her, and she's reuniting with Jill Zarin, and they haven't seen each other or really talked, according to them, in 13 years. So this was a big deal for me. I was like, oh my God, I used to watch the show I've rewatched it. In fact, I'm rewatching it now. It's rekindled my love affair for watching the train wreck that was the Housewives of New York City. And they're talking about how things that don't surprise me with reality TV, about how, they would encourage people to fight, they would pit these women against one another, they would get them to drink quite a bit. I think that happens in a lot of reality shows, and not really provide a lot of food so that they would act out. Producers would take people aside and have them, hey, do you want to, this isn't going well, maybe start a fight or something like that. Try and egg it on so that it would make it more of an interesting kind of segment or show, that people would stay tuned. Obviously, they're making money off of it. And it wasn't just Bethany's show that I was watching. I had watched other interviews with Ramona, and, just the other girls who'd come forward were talking about it, because some girls have fond memories of being on the show, and Bethany and some other girls, not so much. And I just watched today, it's August 10th. I don't know when this video is going to go up, I'll be honest. But I was watching, I'm sorry, my brain. Hello. Maybe another reason why I haven't been uploading lately, just mentally distracted. So I'm watching the Juicy Scoop. I'm watching Heather McDonald. Heather had Carol on the show, who was friends with Bethany. I think, they clicked on immediately, like on season 4 or season 5, something like that, when Bethany came back to the Real Housewives, and they were like thick as thieves. So on Bethany's podcast, when Jill asked about, you know, if she talked to Carol, well, Bethany downplays the whole thing, their whole friendship, saying, oh, you know, well, we weren't really friends, this, that, and the other. I know I'm going off on a tangent. But I'm seeing Carol talk about it, and Carol is calling her out, saying that Bethany is like narcissistic, and, you know, it's just all the backstory stuff, all the things that that they would do behind the scenes that we didn't know about, that, well, maybe we knew about but didn't really know about, that they're talking about. And I just find it so freaking interesting, circling back to that. They would want to start drama in order to keep these shows, you know, keep people engaged, keep people watching. And a lot of people feel like, you know, their personal lives were displayed in a way that, you know, made them look bad, you know, their sicknesses, their addictions, things like that. It's all out there. And I was talking to Pat about it too, about the whole like reality TV lifestyle, and his thought was, you know, they know what they're getting themselves into when they sign up for that kind of thing, and it's, you know, it's par for the course. And I'm thinking myself, you know, okay, I can see that perspective, I can see that, but also I think that a lot of the times when they're getting into it, they also have the rose-colored glasses on, you know what I mean? Like, they'll be getting into a show thinking, yeah, you know, my life's going to be out there for people to see, but it's not going to be that bad, and it's going to give me, you know, a platform, especially today with social media being what it is, or, you know, back in the day before all that, it's going to give me a chance at fame. This is going to be my step up, you know, and sure, there's going to be some messy bits here and there, but it won't be that bad. And then they get into it, and it's like, the way TV is viewed these, and not just these days, but just in general, people just feel, if you're the bad guy or they make you the bad guy, you're just hated, and if you're the good guy, then you're just revered, and then things come out later that, you know, you really weren't a good person, which kind of like is going on right now, especially with that Heather McDonald interview that she's doing with Carol. And it's like, Carol is just straight out talking about, you know, maybe not as in, you know, not as much as I would have hoped, but enough to where you get the idea that there was a lot of crap going on there that that was just really messed up. So it gives me a whole different perspective, because I liked Bethany Frankel. She was like the it girl. I always thought that she was an advocate for people, you know, to do charities, and, you know, was just like the real person. Well, according to Carol, Bethany is incredibly narcissistic and would gaslight. I can see that a lot of the times if she does talk over people, she can be very overbearing and all that. I've never met any of these women, so I'm only going from what I see and what I've heard and that kind of thing. But I guess I can kind of see where that would happen, you know, where she could be that kind of individual. Bethany on her last season was really out of character for me. I just remember on every other season I'd seen her on, I always liked her. I always pulled for her and thought she was, you know, like I said, the real you know, person. And she came into the show like with nothing. She wasn't rich. She was the entrepreneur. She made her own way. All these other ladies, they, you know, already had money. They were already established. She didn't have a husband. She was, you know, she was the underdog. And yeah, I rooted for her, but in the final season, she was like the bad guy. Not just the bad guy. She was constantly just like crying and breaking down and just generally kind of being like kind of shitty. I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna rewatch it. That's one of the ones that I haven't watched. Obviously, I only recently just started watching it. But I do remember in the final one that had her on there before she left the show, it was like, wow, they kind of switched it around. And I wonder, because of all the things that they're talking about, 'cause she has beef with Andy Cohen. She even touches on it on her podcast when she's talking to Jill. She wants reality TV to be unionized. A lot of people want reality TV to be unionized. And I think there should be representation for those people as well, even though they're not considered real actors. There's a lot of scriptedness going on reality TV, and I think they should have representation. I don't think they should just be out there floating around, you know, getting their butts kicked because the hours are really long and there's very little pay for what you're doing, because they're talking about that too. They're letting all the freaking secrets go, and I just find it so freaking intriguing, clearly, because I'm, you know, sitting here rambling about it and jumping from subject to subject like I always do. Turned on the camera and just started talking because we just hang out and that's what we do here. Streaming services are making big money while these people whose lives have just been displayed for all of us to see, and a lot of it in a very messy way.
So get your... I think it's a disgrace. Okay. Are you people people. Okay, Dorinda. You know what? You go to a place. You hold your face to yourself.
We're sorry. We have to
I
shut our
cooked
mouth.
all day. I decorated. I did it nice. I'm ashamed. If no one can behave themselves, then you all go home. I give you permission. All go home because I decorated. I cooked. I made it nice.
Watching back on some of those things, it's just like, wow, shocking. I couldn't imagine having my whole life out there with all that drama and all that stuff. My life isn't dramatic, but let's just say hypothetically it was with the, and everyone seeing all this. I mean, I wouldn't want anyone just seeing me sitting on the couch watching TV, you know, or whatever, or flipping through TikTok. It's like, it's weird, but yeah, like Pat said, they know what they're getting into to a degree. I mean, you know, in my opinion, they should get more out of it than what they're getting, considering what they're putting in, which is like pretty much everything. So there's a lot of steering going on. Andy Cohen has done some shady stuff, according to Bethany, and again, I have to take it all with a grain of salt because I wasn't there. I don't really know, but I'm just sharing the scoop with you guys because I can't help but find it interesting, because looking back on the show like I had been, it seemed to me like Bethany enjoyed her time being on the show, that all the girls enjoyed their time being there, and you know, had gone on to do other things, and it was all sunshine and rainbows, and then she comes out and starts talking about it, and it's just like, I don't know, it's just really eye-opening. And to see her reconnecting with Jill, because they used to be the best of friends, and they had this huge public falling out on the show, and I was just rewatching the one where that was happening because I had kind of forgotten. It had been so long since I'd seen it. And one of the things that Bethany had accused Jill of is that her deal was that she'd gotten so caught up in the fame and all that stuff that was Real Housewives of New York and all that, the Real Housewives at the time, because it was huge. I mean, it's still big today. People are still watching it, but I feel like back then, it was a beast. It was even bigger. It was like everyone was watching it. Everyone was just talking about it and couldn't wait for the next, you know, whatever episode, next season, all that to come out, because we wanted to know what was going on with these ladies, followed them, you know, in their lives in the press and all that stuff. So I think that was the main beef, and I'd forgotten about that, was that Bethany accused Jill of just being so caught up in the fandom that everything had to be done on camera. Even when they had like this small fight, the reason why it escalated is because she wanted to have it all just be publicized. And when she was starting to look like the bad guy, because it was right around the time that Bethany got married and got pregnant, Jill realized, oh, you know, if I don't make up with her, I'm going to look like a bad guy, and I got to make up with her on camera so that I can, you know. She wanted to be like the hero, and when it wasn't working out that way, when Bethany figured out what she was doing, the whole thing blew up in her face. Also, Bethany had said that Andy Cohen had suggested to her that she marry Jason, the one that she has their daughter with, and that turned out to be a horrible disaster. The whole thing was awful, and their breaking up was awful. I'm sorry, it was like I'm remembering because I'm watching the damn show, and I'm like, dude, it's real life drama, but it's kind of scripted and kind of like, you know, directed and guided at the same time. But I'm just so like, wow, what a trip, because I'm like reliving it now. But he turned out to be a bit of a monster and made her life pretty hellish, you know, for a long time. And it was rough for her. I remember watching it and just feeling, you know, totally compassionate for her. Now I don't really know how to feel, especially after watching Carol's interview. It's like, wow, you know, I can see where she's coming from. And Carol, back to her, Carol was always like the super freaking chill one, and didn't really, you know, want to get into it with anybody. She was just doing her freaking thing. And yeah, she and Bethany were like real good buddies on the show. At least they made it seem that way, and they hung out, and then they had this horrible falling out where I really think that Bethany looked like an asshole. You know, I don't know if the show made her look like an asshole or if she was just being an asshole. But according to Carol, Bethany was just notorious for being, you know, just like gaslighting people, being, you know, narcissistic and doing all kinds of messed up stuff. And it didn't come out for her. She didn't see it until it was, you know, already too late. And that ruined their friendship. And like I said, to hear Bethany talk about it, their friendship was never really that deep. Well, I feel like Bethany's lying, because according to Carol, it seems more like they did have an actual friendship that blew up. She seemed genuinely upset about the whole experience. So I don't know. I think that Bethany is downplaying it, and I'm just seeing a whole different side to her that I didn't see before, because, you know, I was looking through the Bravo lens of Bethany Frankel. Not that I'm hating on her or anything like that, but it's kind of wild to have like a bit of the inside scoop to peek behind the curtain, as it were, and see that whole, you know, underbelly of reality TV being what it is. I'm gonna use my Mario blush today. I love this blush. I mean, I have a ton of blush that I love, but this is one that I've really been liking, especially for summer, because it's such a nice balm, and it melts into the skin, and it just looks really pretty, especially for mature skin, my humble opinion. I just really enjoy it, and you can build it up, or you can wear it really sheer. I don't know. This has been one of my favorites. That one and the Rare Beauty, but yeah, clearly a little heavy there, but you can blend it out, and it does have a tackiness to it, but once you set it with powder, just like the tiniest little bit of powder, it's beautiful, and it doesn't feel sticky at all, so I actually really enjoy it. And it's something that I can wear just like if I did like a little bronzer or a little skin tint and just kind of put on a little blush and like set it just the tiniest bit. It's perfect for the day, and it just looks really, once I blend it in, it looks a lot more natural. I know it looks a little heavy-handed right now, but it does have a natural, really pretty look to it once all is said and done. So, I don't know, I like it. I haven't gotten a lot of sun. Stepping away from the housewives moment, I haven't been like doing a lot of outdoorsy stuff. I've just been kind of like, other than going to market and doing that deal, we have a pool, but I haven't been doing any real swimming or anything like that this summer. I've just been kind of like indoors, and that's probably part of why I'm feeling kind of blah, kind of ick, because I've just been kind of like hanging out inside and not really doing a lot of outdoorsy stuff. I'm not a big outdoorsy person anyway. I'm not like a camper or anything like that. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I've never been one who's been into that kind of thing. I'm not like the nature girl. Like my sister loves doing that. I feel like there's something in my eye. I've been feeling like there's something in my eye all day, but there's nothing there, at least nothing I can see. And I keep looking because I keep feeling it. I wonder if I scratch my eye or if it's like allergies. That might have something to do with it, but there's nothing in my eye. It's weird. Yeah, I don't know. It has like a really pretty glow to it. I like it. It gives me the outdoor look without going outdoors, which, you know, I need to do. I hate that term touch grass. It bothers me. I don't know why. Probably because I'm old and it doesn't compute in my head. It's like, go touch grass. It doesn't click for me, but I do need to go outside, get a little sun and a little fresh air and all that, and do that deal. But I haven't. I've just been like just indoors, and if I do go anywhere, it's like brief moments of being outside and then back indoors I go. Just been kind of like a hermit. I think in part it's because I don't want to be tempted to spend unnecessary money in this particular moment that I'm in my life, so that's probably has something to do with it. It makes sense anyway for me currently. So we talked about the housewives a little bit, and I probably will touch on that at a later time because I just really enjoy talking about it. I do need to check out the new, potential spam calling again. They call me every day. They love me. They can't stop calling me. I think they miss me when I'm not around. I do want to check out the new housewives going on for New York, but I hear that it's kind of slow going and that it's very polished. And one of the things, I know I'm still on the housewives. I said I was going to move on, but I'm just going to talk about it really quick, and then we're going to move on to what else I want to talk about. One of the things that I really liked about the New York housewives is that they were messy. There was nothing polished about them. They were just a freaking train wreck. And it was just something to see. It was a sight to see. That's a good way to put it. Because they were a freaking train wreck. These women, their behavior, just shocking. I could pick a housewife and do a video on that specific housewife, you know, for whatever X amount of time it would take to get through the housewives. And I'm telling you, each one would be entertaining by their own right, because these ladies, they knew how to get the views. I'll tell you, they did. They figured it out, even from the very beginning, man. Even more than Orange County, because, you know, Orange County is the OG. They're the ones that, like, I think they were the first one, but I'm telling you, New York and Atlanta cannot be freaking beat, in my humble opinion. Yeah, I like this. This is nice. I just haven't really been doing the big makeup thing lately, but I like it. It's on. Look, it's on. Yeah, it looks pretty. I look alive. I look a little more sun-kissed than I did when I first sat down, and I don't know, it makes me happy. I'm currently covered in powder. I decided to spill that all over my leg. Good job, Jen. Take care of that in a second. Just let it hang out. It'll be all right. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about, aside from the powder on my leg, painted. Okay, I want to talk about the James Charles thing because listen, there's been so much controversy around this brand. I'm telling you, it's like, it's kind of ridiculous. And you know what I noticed? I'm just gonna say straight up, I'm not like the biggest James Charles fan. So if you are, maybe don't watch this little segment of the program. I'm not putting bad out there, whatever, I don't know how else to say that, but I'm just not a fan of his. I think that the things that he's done in the past and, you know, all the stuff that you hear about, it's just, it's hard for me to look at that kid and have positive feelings. I'm not gonna buy anything from the brand. I never really intended to, but he did finally launch his brand Painted. It dropped, I think it was on the 7th is when it came out. There has been a lot of drama before it came out. There's been drama during it and drama friggin' even now. And I just read something, I was looking it up, because there's a ton of videos going up about his brands today that I watched, you know, a couple of them, but there's a whole slew that people are chatting about it. One of the things is that the FDA is saying that the paints are not safe for the immediate eye area. I thought that was kind of interesting. I'm not going to go into the whole like reading of it, but if I could find what I found, I'll post it so you guys can see what I found on the whole James Charles Painted deal. And there are people coming forward saying that the lab that he used could easily bring about another like lipstick gate, only it would be Painted Gate because it's not known for being a really good lab. Also, when he was sending out his PR stuff, the truck that had his PR packages that were going out to people, the truck toppled over. The truck crashed, this huge freaking Mack truck on a freeway. I hear that the driver's fine, and thankfully. Driver's okay. I was watching, what was it, T-Spill or Spill Sesh? I'll put it up here so you guys can see, but I was just watching that and I was just shocked. There's just been a lot of like bad vibes going on with the whole brand and all that, with it going out. A lot of things that are going wrong with it. The product itself looks very cheap and not really thought out. I did go on his site and some things have sold out, but it's not entirely sold out. And I thought that was kind of interesting. I also think it's interesting that if you live outside of the US, it's going to cost you double what it would cost you to get it if you live here. And I think that's just freaking ridiculous. So the sponge being $10 if you live outside of the US, even Canada is going to cost you $20+ to get it because the shipping is just absolutely freaking ridiculous. Also, there's a lot of drama going on about how he went and hand delivered to all these influencers that, especially Tana Mojo, who said she would never really like be buddies with him. They had a falling out and she had really spoken openly about some of the stuff that had been going on with him and some of the things that he'd done that she was just completely against and wouldn't support him again. So it was weird when they all like, you know, went to Coachella. They didn't go together, but they hung out. You see pictures of them and then he goes to her house and brings us product and the whole thing just seems a little odd. But you know, what are you gonna do? Tana Mojo, right? It is what it is. So I'm gonna put on a lash today, like maybe like a little half lash or something. So yeah, goes to the house and brings the product and does that whole deal. And it's just been weird. It's weird. And there was a whole thing with Manny MUA too, where people were upset that, you know, most people feel like I do, and they just kind of want to like let James Charles go and do his thing somewhere else and just not go anywhere near younger people. We see the things that he did, and it's like, no, that's, you know, you know what I mean? Looks like I'm having a freaking seizure, but I'm just not into the whole James Charles thing. I don't really like the kid. There's more news on his brand and the problems with it than there is. It's easier to find that than it is to find the link to his product, which is kind of like crazy in and of itself. He did in fact say that he wasn't expecting things to sell out, so it wasn't a big surprise and all that, and it's ready to like re-up the brown and the black shade of the Painted that he has that did sell out, and the pink one. And he's talking about how like Beyonce and all these people, that was another thing that people got upset about. He's talking about how these big stars were wearing his makeup brand as if they knew. He had given it to some makeup artist friends of his in hopes that they would use it on their celebrity clientele, and some of them did, which is great. But when he went ahead and advertised for it, he's making it sound like they knew they were wearing, I don't know. I just wonder if Beyonce, if she had any feeling about James Charles at all, if she knew that he was using her in a sense like, oh, Beyonce's wearing my makeup. If Beyonce loves it, then you should love it too. I don't think Beyonce even knew she had the makeup on, you know, or Cardi B or any of these other people that he's saying, you know, they're wearing my makeup, they're wearing painted. It's like a whole thing where he's just going off about if you don't buy, I mean, even Beyonce's wearing painted. Beyonce didn't know she's wearing your freaking makeup, dude. Don't be, it's like, okay, you're making it sound like what it's not. I don't know, that just kind of bugged me. And me and a lot of other people, I just found that kind of obnoxious because that was his selling point, that Beyonce and Cardi B and all these people, they're all wearing painted and loving it. They don't freaking know that they're wearing that brand, so it's like, okay. But he's trying to sell his stuff. You know, you have to see that side of the coin too, I guess. It just freaking irks me.
And place, and you did it at my birthday dinner.
And I haven't seen a lot of reviews. Maybe because I'm not looking for them, but I do. I feel like I've seen more people talking about the drama around the brand than they are talking about the actual product and whether they enjoy it or not. Like, that's something I want to see. Like, I'm not going to buy any of it, so I don't really know, but I am so curious. Please tell me in the comments if you did buy it. You know, it's fine with me. Buy whatever you want. I'm curious. I want to know what you think. I mean, really. And I guess I should try and find some reviews on it, but I don't know. I figured they would just be there without my having to actually search for them. That's another thing that I find kind of strange. If it's such a big deal, you know, why don't I see a bunch of people talking about it going, oh, I'm using painted. Am I just missing it? Did you guys see a bunch of reviews? And I'm just like off in my Real Housewives of New York, you know, La La Land, where I'm re-watching stuff and I'm just like completely out of the loop on that one. Because, dude, I don't know. I figured it would just be everywhere and I would see a bunch of people chatting about it. And I haven't seen anyone review it. And I am genuinely curious. I mean, yeah, it's paints. It's not like it hasn't been done to death. People have already done it. He's not the first one out the gate to, although he claims that he had thought about it long before they existed. He just didn't, you know, feel prepared to launch his own makeup line. But according to him, he had already thought of doing face paints before. I don't know. I don't know how much of that is actually freaking true. I do know that I'm fighting with this lash right now and it's really bothering me. I get it? This eye has been the bane of my existence today for some reason. It's like giving me so much grief. So I was watching that, just kind of checking out the launch and keeping my eyes peeled for, you know, what was going on, and no major reviews yet. And like I said, doing my birthday coming up at the end of the month. I have a really tiny haul that I'm going to share with you guys. I'll probably film that today since I have my makeup on. May as well, right? And so you're going to see this look again. Going with my husband on Saturday. He's doing a pool that he has to repair that's over near family. And so we're going to get up really early on Saturday and head out and do that thing. Probably swing by and see family and say hello. And so I'm going to get up like at the butt crack of dawn on Saturday to head out, which will be good. We also had family come in from Florida, which was fun. I haven't seen, it's my husband's aunt who I adore. She was at her wedding and I hadn't seen her since the wedding, and it was great to see her and her husband. They came out for a couple of days. We got to spend time with them over the weekend. I'm trying to think of other things that have been going on that are even remotely interesting, because like I said, I've been very much the homebody with all the stuff going on and the lack of income. It's like, I don't want to go out, trying not to shop, but I did end up, you know, kind of going out and doing a little shopping, not even remotely like I've done in the past, but, you know, did a little bit of shopping. I also need something for the lower lash line here. Hold on. I have been so clumsy. Another thing, too, that happened, I had to grab something out of the garage for Pat, and the electric thing's broken. We have to get it fixed, so now we have to manually open and close it, and I ended up crushing my fingers in the deal when I was trying to close the garage there. I could see it coming, and instead of moving my fingers out of the way, I don't know why, my brain didn't, like, catch on fast enough to frickin' move my hands out of the way so they wouldn't be crushed, so I crushed these 2 fingers and ugh, just been sucking. Painful, suckiness. So this is cute. I mean, ghostly intrigued. I hope you're not too disappointed. I know it's not the big, like I said, glam moment, but it's still cute. I mean, it looks a lot better than it did when I first hopped on. Come on, let's be honest. It really does. So those are the things I wanted to share with you guys today. Just kind of like, just a little chat, you know, and I'm curious about your thoughts. I don't know how many of you watch The Housewives, if you're even interested in the show or whatever, but when it comes to reality TV and all that stuff, and whether they should have, you know, union rights and, you know, that kind of thing, I'm curious to know your thoughts. If you want to talk about The Housewives, I would love that too, because like I said, I am reigniting my love affair of the New York Housewives. I've been watching it, and I literally downloaded frickin' Peacock. It's $5.99 a month with like the commercials. It's not that big of a deal. So, you know, for a little while, as I'm interested in watching it, I'm just rewatching it and having fun with it and just enjoying like talking about it. So those of you that want to have the Housewives conversation, please chat me up and let me know in the comments what you think. I would love to know, because yeah, I just hearing all those stories and seeing the podcasts and stuff and people coming forward with like the Andy Cohen tea and all that stuff, because dude, I'm telling you, all those years of watching it, I wouldn't have thought, and you know, it's my ignorance, because I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but now it's like everyone has a podcast and they're all like, they're just letting it all out. They're talking about all the stuff. And I mean, even if you don't really watch the show, it's still kind of interesting to just to talk about it, because it's shocking, like some of the things that they do. And I believe it. Even aside from the whole Housewives genre, like Love is Blind, I feel like a lot of times they'll go, like, these people have talked about it too, like where we don't have food or very little sleep, and they just keep feeding them alcohol the whole time, and to get them to act like, stuff floating around here, I'm a mess. I'm just like, really, but they do that to get them to act out so that they have, you know, an interesting show. And it's kind of like, to me, it sounds like torture. It's freaking ridiculous. I wouldn't ever want to do this. I like this. This is great. You and I were talking, we're having a great time. I love this. I couldn't imagine putting myself out there on a reality show and subjecting myself, especially with the amount of money that they're not making. I mean, sure, with social media, you can go off and you'll have a platform afterwards and it could give you a leg up, but what you go through to get that and how they depict you on the show, listen, I don't know. I don't know that it's really worth it. So let me know your thoughts. Do you think, another question, do you think it's worth it to even put yourself up to be on a reality show at this point? You know, union and all that aside, would it be worth it? And do you think people go in with like a full idea of what's going to happen? Or do you think that people get blindsided? Because I think that they do. I think they have the rose-colored glasses and they get blindsided a lot of the time. I don't know. It's just, they'll trick you. It's a thing. I'm telling you, it happens. It's very real. So I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. James Charles, all that stuff. Anything you guys want to talk about. Yeah, this is the finished look. I hope you like it. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get on with my little haul video and go do a couple other little things today and get my ass out of the house. I need to do that, and to stop stressing, and yeah, that's it. I've been sitting here and just rambling on, and it's like, how am I gonna, I need to wind this down. We need to stop. Anyway, that's gonna do it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for sticking around and watching. As always, I really do appreciate it, and I will catch you all in the next one. Bye.